I will follow you anywhere, anywhere you go. I'll follow you, follow you. I will follow you anywhere, anywhere you go. I'll follow you, I'll follow you.
I'm just heading up to a fantastic waterfall. Going to go up to the base of it, and then the track carries on up to the top. And the thing we're going to talk about today is the 3 big mistakes I see first-time backpackers making. And if you're heading out on what might be your first solo overnight trip or one of your first trips, stick around, this is the video for you. Solo backpacking and camping is something I've enjoyed right back when I was a teenager, backpacking around the world on a shoestring budget. That's obviously some time ago, and in between, while I continued to camp with my family, more lately I've made solo camping a priority again for all the benefits that time alone in nature provides. Sometimes I go out with friends, sometimes I go out on my own. There's been plenty of rain, so lots of water coming down the waterfalls. This is going to be good today. The first mistake I want to talk about is when you overestimate your ability. And it's all very well to be able to walk 10 kilometres maybe around your city streets. Trying to do the same when you're out on a track is a whole lot different. Depending on the particular trail that you've chosen to do for that day, it's quite possible that it could take you 1.5 times as long, twice as long, 3 times as long per kilometre than what it does when you're walking around your local city streets. It just depends on the trail and the conditions of it, sometimes the weather as well. When it's hot, you might be going slower. A lot of trails have information as to suggested times as to how long they might take you, and it pays to look at those. And when you're just starting out, perhaps being more conservative with your estimates than the suggested times. If you've overestimated your ability, you run the risk of getting to your campsite in the dark, and that gets quite challenging. Not only are you on the track in the dark, and hopefully you've got a good head torch or some kind of lighting system, but once you get to the campsite you're headed to, you're going to have to choose where to camp and where to pitch your tent and how to cook your dinner in the dark, and these can all be quite challenging tasks. Actually, when I said we're going to see a waterfall today, I should have said more than one waterfall, because this track is just waterfall after waterfall. It may be that it's going to get dark and you're simply not going to be able to get to your chosen campsite, and in those times it could be the best thing you do is actually just stop ahead of dark and figure out somewhere along the trail that you can pitch your tent. At least that way you're going to be doing it in the daylight and then cooking your dinner and getting yourself set up and secure ahead of that dark coming down, and then in the morning you can just return the way you've come, depending on your plans. If it's a loop track, maybe you would be able to carry on, assuming that the next day is not as far as what you've walked on the first day.
Say something like you love me and make my day, like you always do, like you always do. Hold my hand and look me in the eyes so I can tell you how I feel. Tell you how I feel.
The next mistake I wanted to talk about when I see solo backpackers going out for the first time is to not keeping someone informed as to where they're going and at what time to expect them back, whether that's the next day or a couple of days later. The best thing to do when you're going out solo is making sure that you have someone reliable who knows what time to expect you back, and then when you do come out into coverage again, letting that person know that you are out of the bush, out of the woods, so then they're not concerned. If something should happen to you that causes a delay in you coming back from your solo camping trip, It could be any number of things. It could be that you've got to a river crossing, the river's running too high and it's not safe to cross, or you may have an accident, you could twist your ankle. It doesn't have to be a life-threatening thing, but if you're going to be stuck there and the weather's not good, it could become a very, very dangerous situation. If no one knows where you are and that you're late back, then no one's going to alert any kind of emergency services to get help for you. This is why it's so important that you always make sure that someone knows where you are and around about when you're going to be coming out again. So another mistake I wanted to touch on today, and this is something I see first-time solo backpackers doing, is they've not tried their equipment out before leaving to go in to the bush or wherever they're going, and so when they get to their campsite, that could be the first time they've tried it out, so they're just not experienced, and that can raise an issue, especially if it's compounded with it, you know, starting to get dark. So before heading out on what might be your first solo overnight trip, it's really important that you become familiar with your gear, learning how to pitch your tent and use your stove, putting everything together, the type of fuel you're using for your stove, trying out the food, see if your body can tolerate it, perhaps you're using some kind of dehydrated food for the first time. And I think even if you put your tent up in your backyard or a friend's garden and sleeping in it overnight and just using the equipment that you're planning to take when you go on your trip, this is all going to help give you confidence around what you're doing. It'll also help you build up the skills that you need to do this. It's much easier when you're in your own backyard or somewhere very familiar, learning how to do something in sort of a controlled environment. If it all gets too much, you can always stop and have a cup of tea, nothing wrong with that. Having an overnight test run, sleeping in your own garden or friend's garden in a commercial camping ground type situation can be really useful. This is where you might suddenly realise that you've left behind some vital piece of equipment. It might be emergency equipment. You could be like me. I've been out, I forgot a lighter. One time was very, very fortunate that there was someone not so far away who actually ended up giving me their lighter, or at other times I've forgotten to take my spoon. The spoon is not vital, but it certainly makes life a lot easier when you can eat your food with a spoon rather than trying to eat it with your fingers. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll see that there have been times when I've been cooking meals in the dark, or when I'm pitching my tent in the dark because I've got caught out by night coming on, particularly in the winter months when the days are shorter. Now, don't compare your first chapter with the chapter I'm on, because I have been doing this for quite a long time and I'm very comfortable with that, and I know the places I'm going to be, and yeah, just very, very relaxed about doing it. So you have to think, is that something you will be relaxed doing? By avoiding these mistakes, your trip is going to be so much better. You're going to feel more safe and secure. You're going to be confident in pitching your tent wherever you're going. You're going to be happier, and as a consequence, it's likely that you'll go out again, and then you're just going to build and build on your knowledge base, and it's going to be fantastic.
Make me wanna live this life.